Hey guys, if you're not caught up with Season 6 of the show, please close out now. I'm going to be going over time travel. The goal of this video is to explain that time travel did not happen in Game of Thrones.
The past is already written, the ink is dry.
Okie dokie. In this video, I want to go over the concept of time travel. Bran never actually time travels. We've seen him view the past, and we've seen his actions play a part in the past, but we've never seen him change the past. If you think this sounds wrong, I don't blame you, but by the end of the video, it should be clear. It's a tricky topic, but once you understand it, you can carry it with you to other fictional stories that involve a similar interpretation of the first four dimensions, X, Y, Z, and time. I'm going to break up this video into three sections. First, an intro that goes over the events with Bran that most people think of as time travel. The main one is Hodor, but we will mention Mad King Aerys at the end of the video as well. Second, we're going to go over the basics of the first four dimensions and parallel universes. And third, we will then use the definitions that we went over in section 2 to reanalyze Bran's trip to the past. And then you will see what I'm saying. He never actually changed the past. Okay, so section 1. Bran is a green seer. He has green sight, just like the Children of the Forest, Bloodraven, and seemingly the Night King. He can see the past, the present, and the future. In Season 6, we learned that Hodor became the Hodor we know and love because of a tragic incident involving Bran. The Night King's dead army was attacking. Mira dragged Bran outside, and then she started yelling to Hodor to hold the door. While this was happening, Bran was in the middle of a vision of the past, and a young Hodor was in that vision. Mira's shouts flowed across space and time, which caused childhood Hodor to freak out. Moving on, section 2. The first three dimensions are called X, Y, and Z. They make up what we call space. You can move side to side, back and forth, or up and down. All three of these moves are crucial to performing a good electric slide. There's a character in the show who would probably have a really good electric slide, namely the beloved Oberyn Martell. Let's take a look at his entrance to the trial by combat. He catches a spear, does a little twirly twirl, and then he starts spinning around to the crowd's delight. As he performed this little warm-up, he automatically moved forward in time. So now we are introducing the fourth dimension, time. The first three, X, Y, Z, make up space, and the fourth is time. So if you ever hear the term space-time in real life, it's referring to the first four dimensions, X, Y, Z, and time, space-time. As you can see, I only put one arrow on it, facing forward, because we, as humans, are prisoners to time. We can electric slide all day, side to side, back and forth, up and down. I don't know why you wouldn't want to, but you don't have to electric slide all day. We are not prisoners to the first three dimensions. Sure, there are forces that impact us, like gravity, but we can fight back. We have a say in which direction we move in the first three dimensions. Poor little Rickon forgot this. He was obsessed with just one dimension, Y. Well, yes, the dimension Y, but also the question, why? Like, why, Rickon, why? You didn't even need all three. You just need to embrace a second dimension, you know, move side to side as you run. I'll eventually leave him alone, don't worry. Let's go back to Oberyn though. He spun his way onto the scene, and if he was smart, he may have spun his way back out of the scene, but if he did that, he would move forward in time. He could have moved back to his original position of X, Y, and Z, but he couldn't have moved back in time, because, just like us, Oberyn is a prisoner to the fourth dimension. We are always moving forward in time. Let's call ourselves 4D creatures. But there's something that people sometimes call a bulk creature. A bulk creature is a fifth dimensional creature. It's abstract, but bear with me, it's not that hard to understand. Think of a bulk creature like a god. It can see the past, the present, and the future. In a sense, Bran is a bulk creature. Bran could watch Oberyn spin his way onto the scene, and if he thought it was cool, he could hit replay and rewatch it again. If he did this, he is not creating a new parallel universe, he is just rewatching the same universe a second time. Again, Bran is not like us. He is a 5D creature. The way you and I move back and forth in the first three dimensions, he can do that in the fourth dimension. He can move back and forth in time, at least in terms of watching things, hands off. In Bran's world, Oberyn is always here at this point in time, and always here at this point in time. There's nothing he can do to change that.
The past is already written, the ink is dry.
So now we are in section 3. We're going to relook at Bran's visions. Let's start with the Tower of Joy. The Tower of Joy, Bran is a little giddy. He runs over and yells to his dad, young Ned. We see Ned turn around, sort of confused, as if he heard something in the wind, and then Bloodraven pulls Bran out of the vision. This happened in the far past. It was before Bran was born. So here's one interpretation. It's wrong though, but here we go. Howland stabs Arthur Dayne in the back. Bran is not born yet, so he isn't here and he doesn't yell anything over to Ned. so Ned doesn't turn around as if he heard something in the wind. Instead, Ned just keeps going forward. Years later, Ned has a baby called Bran, and then Bran time travels back and re-watches the sword fight. This time, at the end of it, he yells out to his dad, who turns around. This is a change in the past, so it creates a fork in reality. It creates a second universe. This one small change, him yelling to his dad, might have a butterfly effect, so down the line the two universes may look very, very different. But thankfully, this did not happen. Bran did not travel back in time and change the past. He was always there. He always yelled to his dad. It's abstract to our limited human minds, but he did this before he was born, and he can't go back and redo it. It is what it is. This is what he does at this point in time. Down the road, he's in a vision and ends up messing up Hodor, and possibly we will learn in season 7 or 8 that he is in a vision and messes up Mad King Aerys' mind in a similar way. But what if it's their only option?
Burn them all!
Maybe this will be the final song of Ice and Fire. This has a huge implication. Bloodraven said that the past is already written, that the ink is already dry. Possibly, the ink is already dry in the future as well. This would explain why people have been able to prophesize things. When I was making the Night King Slayer Theory video, I rewatched the scene with young Cersei and Maggie the Frog. We usually focus on the prophecy part, but there's a really cool line in the show version of the scene that she says before saying the prophecy. Check it out.
Everyone wants to know their future. Until they know their future.
My initial reaction to that line was that it was sort of a threat, you don't want to hear your future because you're not going to like it. But if you pause the show and think about that line from various angles, it takes on new meanings. For example, yesterday or the day before, I paused it and I imagined what would it be like if I, personally, could go to a Maggie the Frog? What would it be like if I found out my own future and then it clicked? Holy crap, that would be terrible. Knowing your future doesn't mean you can change it, it just means that you aren't going to be surprised by anything. To be honest, I'm glad that I'm just a human. I'm glad that I'm a prisoner to time. The mystery is awesome. It's what makes the ride so much fun. Or at least, that's the way it works for me. Just realize that some people may look at the uncertainty of the future as scary, like a beast. So I guess it depends on your situation. So with that said, pay it forward, spend time with your friends and family, eat clean, train dirty, kick ass, and cancer. Alright, this is Kev. Let's chat. I'm out.